name is Sari van Pooij. I'm the director of Intact Academy and of Agile Business Innovation. Mainly, we help businesses innovate more quickly than their products so that they can accelerate their time to market. If you want to know more about that, please go to our websites and check it out. We were talking about styles and types of conflict, and now we're going to talk about conflict resolution. Conflicts are something that appear in our daily life, but also over a lifetime as well. And I sometimes wonder, what does a conflict really mean? You know, a conflict can be the pathway to redeciding that your life is as it was, because it reconfirms whatever you believed in before. You know, you start fighting about who puts out the trash, and you end up walking away. Nobody loves me anyway. Or you're fighting about who puts out the trash, and you walk away thinking, I always have to do everything around here. So, you know, a conflict can be a pathway to reconfirmation of what you already knew, or a conflict can be interesting in the sense that it gives you, oh, this is where I'm going. Can I head myself off and create a doorway to something new in your life? So you could also have that same conflict about who puts out the trash and decide, okay, listen, this person loves me, but this is just a conflict about who puts out the trash. How are we going to deal with this? And so you redecide your pathway in life. Or you can have the same conflict and think, okay, look, obviously I'm in a relationship where everybody does something to their own ability. And maybe I'm taking too much responsibility. And can I let go of that responsibility and really relax into being sometimes instead of doing? That's what I mean. Conflicts are really interesting. They seem to be grounded in fact. So at the social level, we talk about who puts out the trash, but our experience of conflict is always emotional. So what might be interesting is to think about, what is the word that expresses what you usually feel in a conflict? My experience of conflict between people, and I mediate quite often, is that the feeling they have after a conflict is always the same, interestingly enough, no matter what conflict they're having or with whom they have conflict. You know, the person who puts out the trash and walks away, nobody loves me, they always feel a victim of circumstance, and they always feel like this impotent sadness, which hides the anger underneath. For many reasons, I won't go into that. You know, I don't know everybody's life story. You know, the person who walks away with, I always have to do things around here, walks away angry, and underneath is always sad because they feel alone. Nobody's supporting them in what they're doing. And if it's about the trash, or it's about their new job, or it's about, you know, the strategy within the organization they're in, they'll always walk away thinking they have to put out the trash in whatever form that takes. So one really interesting thing is to think about what is the feeling that keeps coming back in every conflict. And then don't focus on the conflict you're having, focus on the feeling. And then focus on the feeling and think about, what is it I'm missing? Because each feeling gives us information about the need you have underneath. The guy who walks away with, I always have to do things around here, walks away with the sadness of never being supported. That feeling of sadness tells you something about the need for having that arm around their shoulder, you know, having an experience of support, even if they're conflictuous. Very important to focus on feelings. The other thing that you could focus on during a conflict is to just step away and think, okay, listen, folks, I've had this conversation about trash 100 million times. Yes, I'm feeling that way, but what opportunity does this give us? You could just as well, you know, have that same conversation, have a laugh together and say, we've been here before, you know, what is it we haven't thought about together that gives us an opportunity for change in our relationship? You could start hearing an attack as a way of reaching out by someone who doesn't know how to reach out differently. Um, I know people focus on the slap in the face, but the slap in the face is also a hand reaching out to you. So, can you hear the attack as a request for support? And if you can, not only of the other person, but also of yourself, what does that tell you? So, those are my three invitations. The reasons for our conflict, seems grounded in fact, but is actually very emotional. Look at the feeling underneath the opportunity and the request for support. That's the first step in conflict resolution.